Oh, Yesenia.
DeAndre.
I love the energy. Love the reciprocation. I am super curious to today's topic and today's discussion we're about to have
I
cuz
bet you are curious.
I don't think we've ever really had a conversation about this particular subject, but after after you teasing it earlier from a previous conversation we had a few hours ago about some recent events, I'm very curious now as to hear some of your thoughts and feelings on this matter.
Shout out to the recent events that took place in my life that inspired today's episode because today we are going to be talking about hyperindependence and comparing it with clinginess behaviors. So, if you're someone that likes to do everything on your own, or if you are someone who needs to know what your partner is doing and where they are, and you want to be with them all the time, stay tuned. Grab a drink, grab some snacks, and dive deep into talking about hyperindependence and clinginess with myself, Yesenia and DeAndre.
You are now tuned in to the Soft Boiled Podcast with DeAndre and Yesenia, your one-stop shop for all things relationships. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, Yesenia, right off the bat, I'm going to ask the question. In relationships, in situationships, in I don't even know what you'd call your current fling, I guess I will call it. Do you prefer hyper independence, or I guess we'll just call it independence? Do you prefer to be more independent, or do you like when a guy is clingy, or are there like some levels of clinginess that you like, or is it like all a turn off? Like, what's going on there?
I think when it comes to this specifically, it really depends on the person. Off the bat, I am not someone who enjoys clingy partners. I don't want you all up on me. I don't want you all next to me, in my breath, in my bubble. I don't like people being close to me in general. However, I've dated one person who, over time, I allowed him to be really clingy with me, and that's because I was also very clingy with him. I've dated clingy. It's not for me. I just can't do it. And there's a word in Spanish that I think describes it perfectly, like me desespera. And I guess the way I can translate that, it's like, ugh, I just get so like impatient. Like I get very frazzled and irritated. And that's probably not the best translation. I don't really know how to translate that word in English, but I can't do it. There's I think it has to be something where I vibe with the person and there's connection there to build clinginess. But I cannot be with someone who's clingy right off the bat.
And you yourself, you're not a clingy person. I can tell. You're not someone who is gonna text their guy, uh, good morning, and if they don't text you back within like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, you blow up their phone and are like, "What are you doing?"
No. But, don't get me wrong, I'm lovey-dovey. I'm communicative, but I don't need to be all up on you either. When we spend time together, yeah, but in terms of just like your general average relationship, right? We're thinking like a stereotypical relationship. I'm not a clingy person. I am way too independent to be clinging on to somebody. And yeah, I'm not a clingy person.
Right. I think there is that healthy balance of maybe some level of clinginess, but also like you kind of say, giving you your space.
Yeah.
Because I feel uh from my personal experience, I also am not a fan of the whole clingy stuff. I get being lovey dovey and showing affection and all of that stuff. That's fine. I don't mind that. I really don't. But at the same time, I am my own person, and I have a life outside of you, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to revolve my whole life around you, trying to please you and talk to you and keep you happy, things of that nature. I know I've talked about it before in a few episodes. I've been down that road when I was younger. And when I was younger, obviously I don't know any better. I thought that this is what I wanted. I thought I didn't mind as much. And once I got out of that relationship, I was in that relationship for 2 years. That was crazy to me that I stayed so long. But once I got out of that relationship, I really self-reflected and I looked back and I was really dumbfounded how I stayed so long, because once I got that clarity, that breath of fresh air on the other side of the relationship, I was like, wow, what have I been doing for the past 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like I get it. Some people are just like that. They just are, and you're not gonna change them. And no matter how much you try to explain to them that, I need my space sometimes, or the whole "it's not you, it's me" thing. I don't know. No matter which way you try to explain it, it'll never be good enough for them, because they're just gonna. It kind of just makes them cling on to you more. The more
Yeah.
you try to push them away and try to breathe a little bit, it attracts them more. And I don't understand it. I don't quite get it, but hey, some people are the way they are. There's nothing you can do about that. But speaking of recent events that we kind of teased at the top, will you enlighten the audience and even me? Because I don't necessarily know all
Oh
of what
yeah, you didn't hear the
happened.
story.
Like, I know what happened
Yeah.
on the first date, but everything you kind of talked to me a little bit after that. But yeah, let's delve deep into this.
Yeah. So what was it? Like 2 Fridays ago, I went on a first date and it went really, really well. I matched with this guy on Hinge and we were just very similar. We clicked off the bat. So we messaged for a few days, we texted for a few days, and then we set up a first date. The first date was magical. We had so much fun. We went to like a low-key concert. We went to grab drinks. We danced. I took him home at the end of the night. We
Oh,
razzled and dazzled, and it was a
mm,
great
yeah,
time.
y'all took it home all right. Yeah.
We for sure did. And the next morning, I I didn't think about like, oh, like I want to spend time with him in the morning. I just assumed, okay, this guy's gonna leave in the morning. He's gonna go about his day, and I'm gonna go about mine. But I woke up and I went up and I brushed my teeth and I washed my face. And that usually is like my telltale sign of when I'm at other people's houses, like, oh, I should get up and get ready too and like leave. This man made himself comfortable, super comfortable.
Uh-oh.
And I like literally talking about, I need to do errands, I need to go to this store, I need to go to that store. And he was like, or you can just stay in bed with me. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm just thinking, you gotta leave, sir. So he didn't end up leaving till like 11-ish, 12-ish. And it was literally me trying to subtly be like, I have things to do. I need you to leave. But whatever. I didn't read too much into it. It just felt kind of clingy. He kind of lingered, and that's what I didn't like, is he lingered.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
wasn't respecting that I had things to do.
He didn't take that hint.
Yeah. And then, him and I had a conversation. Previously in his other relationships, he felt like he had to beg for time and attention. And I totally respect that, like he was honest and he was really vulnerable with me. But I'm a busy woman. I have school, I have internships, I have working full time. So my time is very like rare. And the time that I do have, I want to spend it how I feel is going to be the best for me and how to fill my own cup and be where I want to be. And I told him that and I was like, can you accept that? And he said yes. But then
Or
here
so
comes,
or so you thought.
or so I thought.
Yeah.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Dun-dun. Okay, anyways. So come last week, man, oh man, I went on vacation, y'all, to the good old Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
Washington. And I think he just expected that I was on vacation, so I had time to text him. But the last thing I want to do is be on my phone while on vacation. So
Yeah.
there was a few little snide texts of like passive aggressiveness of like, Basically him saying like, "Oh, you're on vacation, you should be able to text me." Or, "Oh, you have extra time, you should be able to text me back." And it wasn't until Saturday when we were driving back to California that he had mentioned, "Oh, you're driving back home today. You should have time to text me." And I said, "Well, I'm taking the first shift in driving, so I can't text and drive. I just naturally kind of don't text and drive. I just don't like to divide my attention that way. And also, when me and the other person switch driving, I don't want to just stare at my phone for a few hours. I want to enjoy the scenery of driving." So he kept bringing it up till the point where Saturday evening he said, "I just feel like I'm going down the route of having to beg you for attention." And
Uh,
I started fuming. Like my demeanor dropped, the energy in the car dropped because I only have been on one date with you and I've known you now for a week and a day.
oh,
And I knew, like, I just started feeling the flags. And we talked about this in the red flags episode with Mars. And for me, a red flag is that clinginess, that clingy behavior. So I had to really compose myself and just vent to my friend who I was driving with because I was going to just say some stupid shit to him because I felt attacked. And I didn't want that to be the case. So me and the person I was driving with, we debriefed it, we talked it out, and ultimately I just let him know that, like, it sounds like you do need a lot of time and attention dedicated towards you, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with asking to get more time and to get more attention from somebody you want it from.
yeah.
But I was very clear in the beginning that I just don't have that capacity and I don't have that much time and attention to give him. So what I do give him, can he accept it? And he said yes, and it ultimately turned out he couldn't. So I told him we just shouldn't continue anymore. It's just not going to work out. And honestly, I really did tell him, because the next time you bring this up, I'm not going to have this great of a response. I will have an irrational reaction because the next time you bring it up, you have me fucked up. And this is like a per my last email text already. So I ended things with him, and it really sucks because I had such a great first date with him and I feel like we vibed and we clicked and had a connection, and I feel like we could have had more fun together, but I just thought about, this was already a week in and I'm already feeling like a shitty person for not doing enough. And that's not someone I want to spend time with. If you're already making me feel like that, despite me being very clear with you about my boundaries, it's just not worth it. So rather than me wasting a year and a half of my life dedicating to somebody to finally be like, yeah, I'm out, I did it at the sign of red flags this time, which, you know, it's bittersweet because I think I am kind of hyper independent. I hate saying I was raised by a single mom because my dad was very present in the picture, but my mom did not need my dad at all. And my dad's kind of like a feminist, and he believes in like women being able to do everything on their own, and really raised us to not, me and my sister, to not depend on anybody for anything. So I have two parents that support the fact that I have my shit together. I don't need somebody to help me with my shit because I have my own shit. And so when it comes to someone who's asking me for time and attention, I think it freaks me out because I'm like, I don't have time and attention for myself. Like, why should I give it to you? And, you know, for better or for worse, that's something I'm working on because I do want to be able to ask for support when needed and ask for time and attention when I need it. But right now, I'm very selective with who I'm giving time to, and I can't be giving it to someone who's making me feel like crap that I'm prioritizing school and work.
I mean, yeah, we all got so much time on this earth. You don't want to be wasting it, giving it to some schmuck.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that
So,
this guy went from 0 to 100 after the first date. Like, God damn, bro.
well, I mean, I don't think I told this to any of y'all, but like the second day, so after he left, he went to like a barbecue with his friend or something. But he told me like he really likes me, and I'm like, you've known me for not even 24 hours. Which I'm like, cool, like you're cool, but I don't know. It just seems like very, like, I have this position, I have this idea of what a girl is and what I want out of a girlfriend, and I'm trying to make you fit into that mold rather than taking me for who I was.
Mm.
I don't know. To me, it was just kind of like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, a lot of what you were saying about about this guy kind of reminds me of myself when I was younger, going through the clingy girlfriend in the past. Because by the end of the 2 years, like he was like your guy was saying that I don't want to fight for your attention anymore. Um, and I felt like at the end of my relationship, I was fighting for her attention, where I sort of became the clingy one, which is crazy how those roles reversed. Because it's like, we're in a relationship together. I shouldn't be a second option or a third option or a fourth option or whatever the case may be. I should be, your first choice, like always. And by the time we were over it, I was again self-reflecting. It really was like, oh shit, I was a second option for a lot of the time. And it kind of, I didn't realize it at the time, but there was like some trauma there of like, well, fuck, now I miss your clinginess, because I liked the love and affection. I didn't like the clinginess that came along with it. But love is love at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So on the one hand, I kind of get where he's coming from. Maybe, there's some like trauma there that he hasn't dealt with fully, or hasn't come to terms with or addressed, or something along those lines. You know what I mean? Maybe there's something there, but I mean, still, like, everything after that doesn't excuse, what he did. Or I guess he didn't really do anything, but he was just coming on a little strong.
Yeah, definitely. There was nothing that he did wrong. It's just, in my eyes, it was, I'm telling you, this is my limit, and you're asking me for more than that. And I thought we had already had a discussion about him accepting my limits. And it definitely made me feel some type of way, because I think over the past year now that I've been single, it's like I am busy, and so it makes me feel like I can't even date properly, like I'm a failure at dating. I was a failure in my relationship. I'm a failure in like relationships, right? And kind of just feeling that like shame that comes with being hyper independent, which is like a really hard thing to unlearn. It's really difficult to switch that thought to like a more positive one about like, I'm just trying to get my shit together and trying to keep my shit together, and I need someone to match that. And right now I kind of do have someone that matches that. And I kind of talked about it earlier too with the other guys, and how for some reason I want more out of that person, but at the same time I like exactly where we are. So I don't know why I'm trying to look for something more meaningful in other people if I have something meaningful right now. May not be how I wanted it to start off, but like past 2 days have been really cute. So
Right, from the sounds of it, yeah, you and homeboy are y'all got a good thing going. I mean, why try to mess with that?
yeah.
I think y'all in a good spot right now. No need to I don't want to say rush anything, because I don't know if it'll ever go that route. But I mean, if things go that way, things go that way. If not, then just keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking.
I mean, especially cause you never know, man. There's a lot of weirdos out there, especially guys get this what do you call it? This idea about relationships and stuff. Especially fucking social media has rotted a lot of our freaking brains about what the idea of a relationship is and isn't, and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like no one has a mind of their own on a lot of things.
On like
But
a similar topic, kind of unrelated to our general topic, but similar to what you're saying, have you seen the people who have been putting on that one ring and getting rid of social media and dating apps? And they're wearing like a specific ring now.
Is like a promise ring, but it's for like getting rid of apps and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've not seen this.
And I might have the misinformation again. I breezed over it through Instagram, but it was like, if I remember correctly, just people who are just tired of the online dating experience and wanting, I think it's to meet people more naturally, but they've been like wearing this ring, which is supposed to signify that like I'm trying to have a more genuine connection. At least that's what I took from it. I could be completely wrong, and it's like some cult thing and I just misread the hell out of it. But, I think there's some merit to it because then you can identify people who are open to having more natural connections rather than like for social media ones.
That if your information is correct on this ring, I'm sorry, I'm probably get some hate for this, but that sounds cringy as fuck. I'm sorry. Like you need a ring to like make some commitment to yourself of just hitting uninstall on an app on your phone. Like, come on now, come
I
on.
think the ring isn't for that. It's not like a commitment to yourself. I think the ring is just to let other people
Let other.
know.
It's like a signal. Like, hey,
It's like a
I'm
signal.
doing this challenge or
It's
this
like
thing. You know.
like pineapples, like upside down pineapples to let people know that you and your partner are swingers. I think that's what that means.
Mm.
You know, it's like one of those things.
Would you ever be into the upside down pineapple?
Oh, I for sure would.
How did I know? That's another topic for another day.
I love pineapples. I have one literally tattooed on my ankle. One's
uh,
upside down. That's cool too. I wear my hair in pineapples to bed.
nice. Getting so we've touched on clinginess.
Hmm.
Now we've got the other side. Excuse me. We've got the other side of a hyper independence to talk about. Now, uh, I would consider myself an independent partner, an independent person, especially for me being single for so long. Um, I very much value and it's I'll get this out of the way now because I know people might be curious. I am an Aquarius. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but like apparently the Aquarius is like loyal and trustworthy and independent and all this other bullshit. Uh,
You could say
but
that about almost every sign.
that's what I'm saying. But yeah, I am very much someone who values my time by myself. But I do also value my time with kind of like how you were saying with the people I care about. I'm not gonna waste it. Especially I'm 28 now. Fucking I hate saying that out loud, but I'm 28. I only have so much time to give to people, and I want to give it to the people that matter. Especially at this stage of my life. You know, my friends are pretty much who are I'm gonna write this shit out with till the end of time, pretty much. So I don't want to be wasting it giving it to some, like I said, some fucking schmuck or some dingleberry. Uh, but yeah, I say, but that to say that I'm independent, that doesn't mean that I don't, you know, I don't not like spending time with my partner. I absolutely love it. Um, but yeah, sometimes there is a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need to go do my thing over here. Sometimes, whether it's my social battery runs out or hey, today I'm just not feeling it. And I'm glad that I've got a partner that very much understands. You know, you've got your own life, you've got your own thing to do. You've got this, you've got that. I know you've got your responsibilities with
Hmm.
whatever you have, work, all this stuff. You know, and you kind of touched on it earlier. I just communicate. That's all you got to do with people is just communicate. Another kind of thing that gets blown out of proportion a lot of times is just small little things with people in their relationships, especially because of social media. Going back to that real quick, a lot of people, the smallest little problems get blown out of proportion, and there's no need for it. I
Hmm.
really feel like something as simple as asking for some space should not blow up into anything big. That should not turn into a huge argument. That's
Hmm.
someone's personal space that you're trying to take away from them, or not give to them when they're asking for it. They're asking.
Yeah.
It's a necessity for, I would say, everybody. You know, why would you deprive, especially your partner? That's your partner. You know, you're supposed to love them for who they are and cherish them and nurture them and grow with them and all that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
you want to take a little bit of their essence away. I personally don't feel that that's right.
Yeah. And we again touched on this a little bit on the red flag episode, and I brought up how people who are clingy and like people who are like hyper independent end up in relationships together. And you know, the reason when we talk about hyper independence, a lot of the times people who are hyper independent, they are very much like oriented towards like accomplishing their goals, completing tasks, kind of just making sure like they're taken care of. And not to say that they don't have compassion or they don't care about other people. It might just not be at the top of their priority list or like higher up on their priority list. And when it comes to relationships, people who are avoidant, they detach. So it's like if you have someone who's constantly detaching from a relationship and someone who is super anxiously attached, meaning they are so involved in a relationship, and you put those two people together, every time the avoidant person wants space, the clingy person is like, why do you need space? I want you even more now, which pushes them further into wanting more time with the avoidant person. But that overwhelms the avoidant person. So they're like, get the fuck away from me. And they serve each other. It's so weird how that happens. And I've experienced that firsthand, being someone who's hyper independent and having dated someone who's super clingy. Every time he wanted to hold my hand, I would get disgusted and like kind of bat it away. Or he would like hug me or try to like kiss me in public. And I was never like a PDA person. And every time he did it, I would just feel so like ick about it, which is just like a crappy way to feel about your partner. And he would just be all over me and like always want to be with me and my friends. I couldn't really ever have girl time. And it just like wanted me, like everything in me just wanted to get away from him at all costs. And every time I would try, he would just cling on and like hold on tighter. And it was just this constant push and pull until ultimately like I kind of like manipulated our breakup to happen. But like I think nowadays I'm trying to be better at coexisting with someone, especially after living with a partner. You kind of have to learn how to coexist with someone. And I think that really helped me kind of shift the type of partner that I am. But I think at the end of the day, I'm really wanting to be able to provide for myself because I don't want to have to start all over again. And I don't know how to do that and still be vulnerable in relationships. So for the meantime, I'm gonna be hyper independent as fuck. My boo thing calls me his little HR person because apparently I have blazer energy because I'm so professional and like independent. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm starting to embrace it because that's just really how I am.
I love it. I do. I mean, being independent is less expensive.
That's true.
I mean, shit. Like partners are expensive. Like holy shit.
Actually, because I'm a female, the money gets spent on me, so
That's true.
yeah.
In your case, it's the roles are a bit reversed.
Yeah.
I might need to check this female thing out one of these days.
You become passenger princess. See how your girlfriend takes on the more masculine driver energy role.
I mean, never mind. So, you this may be a side story, but I couldn't help but notice in your little speech just now that you said that you manipulated a breakup. Did you
Yeah.
like orchestrate? You like orchestrated a breakup? Like, how did you set this up?
Yeah, I knew I wanted out of the relationship, but there was no way it was just gonna be like, hey, DeAndre, I want to break up. Like there was no way that straight of a conversation was gonna happen with the boyfriend that I was having at the time. So, because I tried to do that and he like convinced me to not break up with him. So what I did was I needed to borrow his phone and I changed one of his cousin's numbers to this girl's number who I didn't like at the time. And I knew him and his cousin would text constantly, right? So, wow, I'm so stupid. Just thinking about this makes me cringe because it's like, Yesenia, you could have just advocated for yourself, but
I'm
it's okay.
I'm
You live and
already
you learn.
I'm loving this so far.
So I like used his phone in quotes and I just like opened his messages and I like scrolled through texting so and so, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Why are you texting this bitch? Like, what the fuck? Like, you're cheating on me, blah blah blah." And like, I just orchestrated this whole argument, basically gaslit the fuck out of him, and told him like I didn't want to be with him anymore. I didn't let him talk at all. I just pretended to be super mad, fumed, gaslighted him, and broke up with him, and never talked to him after that. And like I said, looking back at it now, it's obviously not something I would currently do, and it makes me cringe just thinking about it because it just feels like I was in like a very manipulative relationship that was more geared towards his benefit and not mine. And I don't like gaslighting people because I've been gaslit before and it just sucks. But it was like I felt desperate to get out of that relationship, but I didn't know how else to do it. And I watched a thing or two from unhealthy relationships that I had set as examples for me growing up, so I kind of knew what to do to get out of a situation I didn't want to be in. And I did it. Not super proud of it. However, I think it could have been more toxic, and I think given how enraged I was from unprocessed trauma at the time, I think I probably would have turned into like an abuser had I not gotten out of that relationship, because I was constantly just pissed off and upset, and I probably would have turned into like the most verbally abusive person he's ever met. So I mean, it sucks, but he's happy now. He's a dad now, so good for him. And I just wish him and his girl and their family the best of luck and all the happiness in the world. I think they have 2 kids now, actually. And yeah,
And guess who has none?
me, because I'm immature as fuck and I don't need kids right now.
Switching gears, I know we talked about being on the receiving end of fucking clinginess. Yes, that's the word I wanted. Have you ever been with someone that's been hyper independent, maybe to the point where it's like, okay, this is too much independence for your liking, or something along those lines?
Yeah, it's basically like, and it's weird for me to be in a clingy role because, I'm not a clingy person at all. But yeah, there's a relationship I'm thinking about where he wanted space for me and he wanted to do things with his friends and never really invited me to hang out with him and his friends, or really ever to meet his friends in general. But every time I wanted to get closer, he wanted to get further apart from me and from like our relationship. And I just remember feeling desperate the whole time, like just feeling really desperate of like wanting his love, wanting his approval, wanting his attention. Which, for me, I think about it and I'm like, it's weird because I don't have daddy issues. Not that you have to have daddy issues to need approval, but usually there's some type of like parental thing going on there. Maybe it's my mommy issues, actually. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, so yeah, I just remember feeling like really desperate that I would dye my hair random colors or just wear like really stupid outfits or say like the most. This is where I actually, during this time period, I used to be a big liar, and I would purposely make lies up to try to get him to be like, wow, really? Or to get him to like have some type of reaction because I just wanted to impress him. And it never worked. But then because I felt so rejected by him, I would lie outside of that relationship too. And it was like a thing that I had for a few years. And it wasn't until I brought it up to therapy that like we were able to recognize like it's because you felt rejected by this one person and you didn't want to feel rejected ever again. So like for a few years into my adulthood, it was kind of rocky with me like just making up lies for attention, which I hate saying it like that as like a future therapist. Because it's not that you're trying to get attention, it's you feel a lack of love or a lack of support and you are trying to find ways to get that fulfilled. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, again, thinking about how we can better figure out ways to ask for that rather than manipulating ways to find that.
Yeah, if it's not coming naturally from your partner, then there's definitely something wrong there.
Yeah.
I was in the same, not, I shouldn't say the same boat as you. Maybe not in the beginning, but it certainly turned that way. My last girlfriend, the one I had before I moved to Georgia, she she was of the hyper independence sort. Also, she was basically kind of like me with the whole being single thing. I loved being single. I didn't. I love spending money on me, buying myself stuff, all this shit. I didn't need a relationship, but if I had one, cool, whatever. She was sort of the same way, and uh, when when we were together, I know she would always mention to me her hopes and her dreams, down the road for her businesses that she was running and starting up more businesses and all that kind of stuff. Cool. And I was willing to support her through all that, even though I knew that meant that we probably weren't going to spend as much time together, which I was okay with because again, you grow as people and you grow together through hardships and all that kind of stuff. And I was willing to do that with her. I was willing to give it a shot. But it eventually, maybe like right before we broke up, I maybe I was in denial, but the writing was kind of on the wall
Mm-hmm.
because she was starting up another business and doing her own thing with ramping up more stuff of what she was doing currently, and then obviously starting another business that takes time and effort that she couldn't devote to me and the relationship, and she couldn't give me the attention and everything that I deserved, I guess. But yeah, and then it eventually just led to you know us us breaking up, unfortunately. But I mean, at the time, like, yeah, I was like super sad about it. Like fuck, I was putting my best foot forward. Um, and I felt like she was too, um, for a good chunk of the relationship. But obviously, towards the end, and I didn't feel like, I never really felt like she wasn't at any point, even right up until the end. I just kind of, I just kind of understood,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, that maybe we are just going in two different directions.
Yeah.
Maybe we are right for each other, maybe we're not, but it's just now isn't the right time to decide, or not decide, but try to explore and figure out whether or not this is going to work long term. So let's not waste anybody's time, and let's go our separate ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I never really got to like your point where it was like fighting for her attention and everything, because I could always call her or text her. We always were very communicative. And we were always
Say
very,
that word 10 times fast.
yeah, seriously. We were good talkers, I'll say that. And even right up until the end, she was, very direct, and I shouldn't even say stern, but she was direct and was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna be busy with doing my own stuff. I don't know if this is gonna work, so you know,
Yeah.
peace the fuck out." And I mean, hey, it is what it is. Stuff happens for a reason. So for a while, of
Yeah.
course, I was the love struck boyfriend that was like, oh, maybe if I text her, or maybe if I call her, she'll reconsider, she'll have second thoughts or everything. But I didn't text her or call her or anything after that. I like texted her like happy birthday, maybe like months after we broke up, just to like see if she'd say like, oh, thanks or whatever. But like, nah, nothing. And I was just like, all right, well, that's it is
Uh,
what it is at that point.
yeah. And I think something that came to mind as you were talking was like this idea of feeling like you're begging for somebody's love. Whether you're the hyper independent or the clingy person or whatever role you're playing in that relationship. Like I've been there. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. I think I just never want to be in a situation again where I feel like I'm begging for someone to love me or someone's begging me to love them. I
Hmm.
think that is the worst feeling, one of the worst feelings ever. Because that's when the clinginess or the hyper independence starts, right? because you start pushing away or you start pulling tighter. You start feeling more desperate or you start feeling like really negligent. And hopefully, if y'all are ever getting to that point in your relationships, you have someone you can talk to about it. You can talk to your partner about it and figure out what's the best way to move forward. But I think it's really important just to like recognize like how you show up in your relationships and which role you might be playing. And there's obviously secure relationships and people who are secure as fuck, and I'm so jealous of you people who are secure. The goal is to be secure in all my relationships. But I think it's just really important. It's really vital just to be able to recognize your own stuff and being able to bring that to your partner.
Yeah, recognize your faults and everything. Like if you're clingy, say so up front. Cause you don't want to, I don't want to get into a relationship and then find out like kind of in your case, I don't want to go on a date with a girl and then next thing I know, I feel like I'm fighting for your attention. Like a week after we've known each other. And it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
If you've got a clingy personality and you recognize it, communicate it up front. If you're a hyper independent person and maybe you don't need all the love and affection or the time, all that kind of stuff. Again, say so up front, because there is a balance that I think both of you have to meet if you're on either side of the spectrum. In that case, it just all comes down. It just all comes down to communication at that point.
Yeah. I also wonder how it would have been like, because I'm done with school in May, so I'm gonna have a whole lot more free time, and I'm manifesting. I'm gonna get this job, so I'm gonna have my weekends free again. I'm gonna have a more consistent schedule. I'm not gonna be super chaotic with my schedule, and it kind of makes me wonder what it could have been like had he just waited and pushed through the next month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But all's well that ends well.
Hey, some people, especially we live in a go society. There is no waiting. What is that?
I had an ex of mine. So back when I was like 19, this guy that I dated, he asked me out, but I was like 3 weeks coming off of a breakup with someone who I just needed a home to sleep in. So I kind of was just dating him for his house at that point. But anyways,
that's funny.
I was talking to this guy and we ended up dating. But when he asked me out, I wasn't sure. And I was like, can I have time to think about it? And he was just like, the time that you're spending thinking about it might not be time that we get. He's like, if you spend your whole life waiting for the right time, you're going to run out of it. And I was like, damn, did you just convince me to say yes when I'm not ready to say yes? And sure enough, he did.
Mm.
And we had amazing, what was it? Like, I think we dated for like 6 months. But it was a great time. In the meantime,
Hey, as long as you have fun on the way.
As long as you have fun.
And you know what, Yesenia, I had fun.
Did you?
On this episode.
Did you really?
Absolutely, yeah. I love our talks, our conversations.
You know what's funny? You started off saying that you're an Aquarius. For folks who don't know, I'm a Libra. And apparently Libras and Aquarii get along very well. We're supposed to be very, like, the most compatible.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Don't tell my Leo girlfriend that.
Well, you don't have to be super compatible in a relationship sense or like a romantic sense, you weirdo.
No, I know that.
My two besties are Aquarii.
Aquarii. You know what pisses me off is that Aquarius is an air sign. I don't even get into like astrology and all that kind of stuff. I think it's it's pretty whack. But like, I think an Aquarius is an air sign. Like, bitch, my sign is a mermaid. Like, what?
I'd be like that. It'll make sense. I'm a balance beam.
Fucking this shit's.
I'm balancing air, apparently.
this shit's fucking.
I'm
whack.
balancing the weight of our friendship, DeAndre. Well, folks, if you're still here listening, hopefully you figured out if you're clingy, if you're hyper independent, and how you're gonna tell your partner that, because that's awkward as fuck. Let us know how that breakup goes. Anyways, We enjoy you sitting through this hour with us. We appreciate y'all for being here. You can catch us on Instagram at _softboiled. Again, that is _softboiled. Or you can catch us at our Ramen Raider Instagram and our Ramen Raiders podcast, Simmering with the Ramen Raiders to be exact. Our Instagram account is ramen_raiders. That's ramen.raiders. Dean, you got any more shout outs and or news you want to give to the folks?
Nah, you're good at that. You're good.
Well, that was all I had. So thanks for simmering with us and getting a little.
Soft boiled.
Don't do that ever again.
Oh.
Bye.